Yeah, I don't have
Welcome
the
to
fence.
Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys for hopping in here. This is just a Quantum Awakening Q&A, and I have my assistant with me today, Jose. I appreciate you being here with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. It's fun to be here with you.
Oh, it's a
Hi guys.
blast. Can you do like a greeting in French? Say hello to our French watchers, viewers.
Bonjour, 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 bonsoir. Salut tout le monde.
Awesome. I think that's cool. It'd be cool to do a bilingual show sometime, but a little too much for this particular episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we will be taking questions from you guys too. If you can put the little @ in there, we have some questions we're going to start with. But if you have any questions you want to ask, just put @ and unbiased and click on there. Click on my name and it'll type the rest of it for you, and then it'll show up as in red. You can also do it to Jose as well. That would probably be easier. Put
Well, time out,
Jose.
my friend. Oh, hold on. I don't have my screen up yet.
Oh, you don't? Okay, just do it to
No,
me.
I don't know. It's really, yeah.
That's
So I
fine.
might have to. Oh, there it is. It's coming.
Yeah.
I'll be there, guys. Just
Now
give
you
me
can
a.
see why I have like 3 screens here. So to kind of try to keep up with everything. But without my glasses, I have to strain to see. So I still miss stuff. But
Yeah,
anyway,
see, I don't care. I put mine. I like to see what I'm doing.
well, I have a lot of screens to glare, so plus it makes my eyes lazy. So we have some questions already set up. What's the first question um, for me today?
Okay. Let me get my little pad here.
No problem.
Uh, 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 well, there's a question. Like, I think all of us are going through this. What kind of impact the Emmy had on you and your life? Like in your family life, in your day-to-day life.
Well, I would say it's really shaken things up for me. I used to have a booth at the flea market that I would go to, and on the weekends, and that pretty much after a few weekends of experiencing the Mandela effect, and people want to conversate a lot, so I would have to bring it up and, hey, have you seen this? And I just had to know because at first I thought everybody would see it if you showed it to them, and I was so surprised. And after talking and most
Yeah,
people not noticing or seeing things, but then acting like it was no big deal and changing the subject to something else, that sort of creeped me out on top of the whole ME happening. And I just found it was just too hard to spend the whole weekend there talking to people. And it just, I don't know, creeped me out. And then in my home life, of course, most of my family saw it, but not, it didn't affect them to the extent it affected me.
yeah, they
Like
kind
my
of
wife,
see it, but they don't.
yeah, like my wife saw the whole JFK thing and her eyes got really big. But, a day or two later, I asked her about it and she was like, well, maybe it was 6 people. I'm not really sure. And I'm like, no, you remember there was one woman in the car, and I sort of held her to the fire on it. And she agreed, but and she's seen other things like Swiffer. That's not a big one for a lot of people, but for her, she did all this research on it, and it was spelled
Oh,
Swifter before. People always pronounced it Swiffer, of course, but she she noticed that. But even then, she asked people at her work, and they all said, no, it's always been Swiffer. And she started going back on that. I'm like, you got to remember what you remember when you remember it, because if you start going off of what everyone else remembers, you're just going to do what everybody else is doing and say, well, maybe I was wrong, because you have memories you're not sure about. I'm not sure about every single ME, but I have ones that I'm sure of, and I know not to go back on those, even if it feels like, your memories getting. Because I mean, like one of my kids work at the store, and she sees products all the time. So hardly ever do I show her a product change, and she's like, you know, Yeah, it used to be the other way. She knows it the new way because she sees it all the time. She's walking down the aisles and she sees Fruit Loops and all these brands in their new way. So even if she's not paying attention, her subconscious is seeing it the new way, and it's just going to sound right to her. So I think it's important that we hang on to our memories, you know?
Yeah, I know. The same for me. There's a few like big ones, like like you, the thinker. Like I know, and I've seen it in Mexico,
And
and
it
I know
changed
it was
again.
to the forehead, and it changed again. Yeah, that's freaky. I don't know what to think about that.
What is your biggest Emmy?
I think it's all related to art, mostly
Like Mona Lisa?
the Mona Lisa. You know, like it's more things like that. I notice more
Right.
movie fan or anything. So it's
Because we talk a lot,
and
and you didn't have all the same movies that a lot of us had in the States because just growing up.
well, I was raised in Quebec, which is a French province in Canada.
Hmm.
So everything we had was either dubbed in French or it was plain French, you know. So a lot of things like the Bernstein Bears and those things I can't relate because I never read them or had them read to me or anything.
Right. So you don't remember
So,
Luke, I am your father in French?
well, yes, I do remember that one because that's a big one, and my son was of age to watch that movie. So yeah, so there's a few movies I do remember, but
Yeah. That
not
one's actually a pretty big one for me because, um, or I should say, it's not a big one because I saw the movie when I was really, really young, and then I've heard so many jokes and reenactments of it. So I remember people saying it was Luke, I am your father, but I can't really remember the original. I know it was, but
uh-huh.
it's not one of my 100 percenters because it's been memed so much. You know what I mean?
I know.
And it's like that
So
with Scotty Beam Me Up.
yeah,
Scotty,
that one I remember. That one I do remember
see, I
because I did
remember the
watch
bumper
that show.
stickers. You actually watched the show?
I did watch the show dubbed in French, but there was the French translation to
Scotty
TV.
Beam Me Up.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was now, but I do remember that.
What about the Lucy? You got some splaining to do.
Oh no, that's not a show I
Oh, okay.
ever watched.
I remember my mom watching it, but I
Uh,
didn't.
I'm a little younger than your mom, maybe.
Oh, I know. But I mean, she had it on all the time. You know, like
Yeah.
I watched Leave It to Beaver on reruns, and I'm way too young to really have watched it. It's the first time through. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Let me
So
ask the guys in the chat if they have any questions for you.
okay, yeah, I don't see
You could
anything
ask
popping up
you
just
guys.
yet.
Send me some questions for Shane's guy. For Shane, guys. There you go. Excuse my English. A little, a little cold here.
Yeah, it is
What a
getting.
question for you in the meantime, if you're
Okay,
ready.
what's the next question for the meantime?
Uh, why do you feel like the Emmy is not just timelines merging?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so I've thought of this several different ways. I've thought of it like me as a person, I could have jumped into another timeline, but when I think of it like that, that timeline would have already had existed, and it wouldn't have residue of the timeline I came from in it. But there's another way you can think about it. You can think about it like I already existed in that other timeline, and my consciousness simply shifted into that other body that was already there, where I already had a heart in the center of my chest, and all of the things that I observe with my own body were already that way in the other timeline, but my consciousness shifted into that other body, so to speak. But the only problem with that is I had a rib that had a little dip in it, and because I'm not the skinniest, most fit guy, I had little lines on my chest and my belly where my skin would fold. And because of that rib being crooked, I had little creases in my stomach area that weren't symmetrical because of my ribs not being symmetrical. But now that my ribs are symmetrical, I still have those crooked lines. So this is the same exact body I've been in the whole time. Now, I know that doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I know this is the same body because of those little roll lines that I got. And then I know my heart, is in the center of my chest, but it wasn't always in the center of my chest. And another thing was the file that I had created, that map, is my original file because it's the work that I did. The artwork is in the same place I left it. If it was already in this timeline, then I would have never known it changed, because I don't really know it changed because I'm such a geography buff and I know the world map so well. I only know it changed because it no longer lines up with the map that I used as a guide. So it's the same file and my guide map changed. So I mean, to me, it's like it's proof that it at least lets me rule out the idea of me jumping consciousness from one body into this existing body. And then the residue that we have left over tells me that this isn't just simply a different timeline. This is things have changed, but it's still the same old place it used to be, even though it's in a different location in the galaxy and all of this crazy stuff.
But what I have a hard time with that is if your consciousness jumps from one body to the other body before you came in, and what's left in the other body.
Right. I kind of thought of it like the consciousnesses swapped or something. But yeah, there's all sorts of problems with that theory. To me, there is. Yeah. I mean, I understand it goes along with Hollywood and the way things are portrayed with shows like Sliders, where, he'd show up at this other world and he'd have to try to avoid running into his other self and things like that. And, I think a lot of that, Hollywood's planted a lot of theories in our head from things that were just sort of guesswork on the part of scientists. You know what I mean?
So many, yeah. It's easier to create conspiracies with all this.
But once we realize that they're just guessing and coming up with this stuff themselves, it makes it easier to let go of those theories. Look, those people didn't know. They were just kind of throwing out an educated guess, All
okay,
right.
let me just check here. I got a question here, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You see it?
Yeah, it says, you guys seeing the baddies tumbling down all around us now. Oh.
Like top Hollywood and DC pedophiles look like the beginning of the end. Yeah, it sure does look like that.
Yes.
To me.
Yes, I have been following the Q leaks. For those who don't know, there's on 4chan, in the poll thread, there's been some leaks. Someone claiming to be Q, and they've been leaking information about all this stuff coming down. I have been following it daily. There's a few different people. Destroying the Illusion is a channel that's pretty good about following it, and another one, I can't think of her name right off the bat, but I have been following it and keeping my fingers crossed. And I think there might be some credence to it, because the person supposedly took pictures from Air Force One, whoever it is. So it appears that they're flying with the president, whoever this insight person is. But, anything can be faked. So it's not a for sure thing, but I'm definitely keeping my fingers crossed to see all of this stuff coming to an end, and us looking at a new era of love and compassion and not hurting children. You know what I mean? So
Well, what I say a lot now is we'll just have to wait and see because
Definitely.
there's not much more we can do. We just have to wait and see.
All we can do is keep on loving.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the most
And-
important thing to me
Right. But that's
right
despite
now.
whatever else is happening.
Yes, that's right. So, any of you guys have another question for Shane?
You can type your question and we can move on to the next one on the list.
Yes, we can do that. Um, where do you think we go when we die?
That's a really good question. And I think it depends on really if we reach some sort of new age or new world. Um, I think that answer might be different. Right now, I feel like maybe we just get recycled back in. Like I look into the works of Dolores Cannon quite a bit, and then the Wingmakers material that I was checking out, how it was saying that part of this whole matrix construct is that the world we know as, you know, time space or space time, and then the world after we die, which is time space, it's all part of that matrix. And I feel like we're trying to break free of that whole construct. So if it happens before then, I feel like we go back into the pool and, you know, review our life, as they say, and then come back in a future date. Unless, of course, we reach this event where we hopefully will exit this matrix and, you know, really evolve as a species into a new, higher level of existence, ascend to a higher um, vibration, if you will, one that's more loving and compassionate. So that's sort of where I'm at with it, but I'm on the fence with it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on the fence about a lot of things. That's why I'm your friend. Uh,
Hanging out on the fence together, Jose.
yes, yes, and all of you guys, you can sit on the fence with us.
Definitely.
Um, I have a question that I think you got from a subscriber.
Oh, yeah.
If you say the Bible changes are good, then why is it that Jesus' words changed to slay them before me?
That's a good one because I actually answered this for Chad on a previous broadcast, but I do have a different answer. It's sort of got the same conclusion, but it's a different way of looking at it that came to mind, and that is, it sounds horrible. Let me actually pull it up here because it's just so those who don't know about this Bible change will know. It's Luke 19:27. But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Now, this was actually a parable. Jesus wasn't telling his disciples to bring people to him and slay them before him. It wasn't like that, but it was a parable where Jesus was talking about the nobleman leaves town and comes back, and he had left some people in charge of his possessions, and some of them hid the money and just gave him back what he gave them instead of investing it or doing anything with it. So another way of looking at this whole thing is, although on the surface it sounds worse, it sounds like he's actually saying, you know, slay people before this nobleman. But if you think of it in terms of what are we really here to do, we're here to sort of die to the flesh. So if you've got the Christ coming to you and saying to slay the flesh before him, then it's sort of like he's helping you out. It's like he didn't learn the lesson of letting your life be ruled by that Christ,
Mm-hmm.
the anointed part. So let me help you out and slay the flesh because that's what's gotten in the way of you achieving what you should have achieved. So that's sort of same conclusion as my last explanation for it, but I think Christians might have a easier time accepting it in this fashion. If you think of them as saying that, realize that you're in a meat suit, you've been letting the meat suit run your life. Let me slay it and get it out of the way so you can let the Christ or the love side come out and be ruled by the love and the compassion. So I think that's a more acceptable way of looking at it. Although in the end, I feel like they were kind of saying the same thing.
So weird to me. I never read the Bible. All of you. I never read the Bible. I was raised Catholic, but like I never got into it. And I was never attracted to any religions or any. I looked into like Native American because it's part of my background, but I could never like commit to one religion. And now that I know you and that you explain to me the Bible the way you see it now,
Mm-hmm.
makes so much sense to me. Now I do believe Jesus exists. But before, like, yeah, maybe, like, but now I think he was here and he was just like us.
Yeah,
That's what I think,
I
like,
think so too. I think he achieved what we're all trying to get to, and he
yeah,
showed the way. And that whole scripture, he's the way, the truth, and the
he
life.
tried.
I believe that's the
Yeah,
truth, but the church tells you, oh no, that means to watch him walk through the door, but don't follow him. Just trust that he's walking through the door for you. But that's really not what he came to do. He came to say,
yeah,
follow me through the door.
yeah, yeah. We can all do it too.
Definitely. I think we can
Yeah,
heal and do all that stuff. He said
yeah,
we would. So
yeah. Well, I think I can already do little things, like I remember my daughter when she was my youngest daughter when she was 2. She burned herself on the clothes ironing,
mhm.
like the iron,
Yeah,
and she started screaming. It was so bad, and I just put my hand over it for like maybe a minute, and then she just brushed me off and went away,
like
running and
nothing happened.
playing. Yeah, and there was not even a mark. There
That's
was
so cool.
nothing.
And
Yeah, I know.
I've heard stories of like my either my grandma or great grandma lifting a tractor up off of one of the kids that had got ran over, like with superhuman strength. It's like she saw the kid was under there, and it's like this 1,000-pound tractor was nothing for her to lift off of this kid. And my
Yeah,
dad said he could see the veins popping out in her arms and everything, and she got it up off. So I think sometimes we're put in a position that it's a do or die
yeah,
situation, and we do it. We tap into whatever that is.
yeah. I know. Yeah,
It's and then I've got a friend, Diane, who's a healer, and then we look at Jamie's story recently where he broke his leg and he went and put it in the water and it healed. And I think we're going to see more things like this happening.
who? What's that
Jamie,
about the leg?
yeah, Jamie, Jamie. I guess you missed
Hey,
that
what
broadcast.
happened, Jamie?
Yeah, he was on like a 4-wheeler or ATV type thing, and the peg, the
Oh,
foot peg.
yeah, no, I didn't see that broadcast.
Yeah, and he
You
got
send me a
down.
link.
You were probably busy moderating, but
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I tried to look I tried to look at the chat room at the same time, it's hard to listen to you because it's so interesting. I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to stop listening, but
yeah, you got to
more
make sure the
questions.
trolls aren't hopping in there.
Let's see here. That's the question we did answer.
We've got some wrenches in there, so we're
Oh
good
yeah,
today.
I'm sure they're looking for the
I think I might have seen a question. Let me.
done with the wing. Oh, Brian Stone. He doesn't like the Wingmaker's art. It's too creepy. I love it. I even made art that looks like it actually.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too. It's amazing.
What? Yeah, I wonder what you find creepy about it, Brian.
I can see what he's saying.
Yeah, I guess.
Jamie's saying he broke it and the creator healed it. And all it took, hey, Jamie, your faith made you whole, my man. Just like Jesus would say. You know, a lot of people think Jesus did this healing, but he always said, your faith made you whole. It's just people believing in him allowed him to
Yeah,
assist them, basically, not
yeah,
really do the
yeah, and I
actual
think
healing.
that that's how it works a lot, like because when with my daughter, she trusted me, like 2-year-old, she trusted me. Come here, I'll take it away, and she believed that I would.
Hmm.
So and it went away. So yeah, it does make sense a lot.
Definitely. Did we already go through all the questions on our list? Or do we have any more?
See here, how you feeling right now?
You said, how am I feeling right now?
Yeah,
Uh, alive.
good.
That's kind of a short
Yeah,
answer. Huh?
yeah.
Well,
No,
you know,
because
I
we
have
were
my
talking
moments.
earlier a little bit, and we were both a little depressed. Like it's hard to go through these all these energies. For me, I'm an empath, and it's hard to go through all these energies, and then, but I'm not the only one. You are, and I'm sure a bunch of people in the chat room too feel like,
Yeah.
like it.
If
That's
I'm
why I'm
rolled
asking
down,
you.
if I'm rolled down, I manage to just stay off of the broadcast because I don't. I know all my empath viewers will be like, "No," just shocked. So I stay the happy, bubbly, joyous
Oh,
self
thank you. You're
before I go live
so
because
thoughtful.
I know people have their own down feelings, and I just go meditate or
Yeah.
something and cleanse myself with the earth
Yeah.
energies or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's really hard. Like it's so hard to deal with depression, but it's feasible, guys. It's feasible. Yeah. So there's another question. What is the most important thing for you right now in all this? Like with everything that's going on.
I think for me personally, is just being there for people that might just be waking up to the Mandela effect and freaking out about it and realizing that they're actually in the lucky crowd that they're able to see this and just really not to worry. So that's sort of my general overarching sort of objective, I guess. Um, on top of that, I'm just working on myself, trying to be patient because it's a battle every day where I'm like
I
like how
know
much
it's
longer do we
hard.
have?
Are we done already?
Yeah, are we done already? I love that shift happens sticker in the background too.
Yeah, it's my friend sent me this with some money, and I think it's there.
It
Oh,
looks
and
awesome.
I have to show you something. I have to show you something, guys. Look what I did.
Oh yeah, show the 5D if you can. That'd be cool.
Don't mind my butt. Uh, I decided to put that on a canvas.
That
You
looks
guys can
awesome.
see the 3D to 5D in the middle.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
I like it.
So yeah, anybody that wants to get in on any of the decals, you can check the link in the description, and any gift is welcome. You can select any of the decals you want, and just email me. But that looks awesome. Did you actually use that as a template? Like you put it on there?
The 5D, 3D, yeah, I did. Um, I just used it as a template, but I went around to like just to make it sharper.
Yeah,
It's really nice. It works really good on canvas. It
yeah, it
peels
looks
off
good.
really nicely. Yeah, it's really nice.
That's cool. Yeah, well, it turned out awesome. And I love those colors,
Thank you,
purple.
All
And,
Media. All Media says she likes my colors.
yeah,
Yeah,
me
thank
too.
you.
That's funny that, well, you can see I used half the color spectrum in my logo because I like the top half, the top three, four chakras, you know, the green, the blue, the indigo, and the purple.
Yeah, but all of them are important, Shane.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just, it's sort of like love and hate, though, you know what I mean? You don't have any
Yeah,
problem with getting angry. People help you out with that. It's the love part that you gotta
yeah.
stay in love. That's cool. Do we
Well,
have?
should we jump in the chat?
Yeah, let me look in the chat and see what's going on here. Um, oh, and to get back to the art, we were talking about the Wingmakers art. That's part of the first releases. I think really the primary focus of the Wingmakers material is really that last interview that didn't come out until I want to say 2014, because that straightened a lot of the previous information out, and it also um, let us know what all that other stuff, the music and all that stuff. I like to listen to the music, love to check out the art, but I think the main focus is
Music.
to realize the content of that final material, which I've just come across, you know, a video with David Icke where, you know, I always thought that guy was, you know, off his rocker or whatever, but it just, some of his stuff was tying in with the Wingmaker stuff so nicely. And it's just wild that, you know, you come across
Yeah,
that stuff.
a lot of the things are tied together.
It is
Like
amazing.
a lot of the theories we have like common.
Yeah.
Help me here.
Yeah. And some of
You
it
know, I don't
actually,
speak English too good.
and some of the theories, even though they seem like they don't jive, they're actually two different perspectives of the same thing,
Mhm.
it seems like, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's at in the end, it's all about love. And wherever you look,
Definitely.
whatever you believe in, it's all about love and unity and compassion and
And it gets
like
back to that whole law of one thing that we looked at for so long,
yeah,
where it was service to self or service to others. You know, do you want to be more absorbed in your own life, or do you want to help people out? That whole left right
yeah,
brain thing.
yeah. It's really a lot heavier on one side than the other.
Ooh, I'm almost missing questions. If you guys could put the at sign and our name, one of our names, it'll show up as red for us and we won't miss it. Brian Stone asked, why are the major religious leaders not addressing the Mandela effect? I think it
Huh.
comes down to one of two things. Either they don't see it happening, um, which I've been coming to the realization that a lot of people that don't see it, that's living a lie, in my opinion, are they've blinded themselves to even being able to see this happening. And the other thing is, they might see it happening, but they're too worried about the bills of the church, and they don't want to empty out the church, and they're just, you know, worried about messing up the offering. I don't know. That's my opinion. You know, it's just speculation on my part. But why else would you not talk about the biggest thing that's happened to the Bible? You know what I mean? I just feel like.
Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's a
Do you have anything to add to that, Jose?
uh
Any reasons why you think?
I totally agree with you on this one. Yeah. Oh, I just got a tea. Thank you, my. Oh no, it's hot chocolate.
Uh
Mm.
oh,
Yeah,
you're making us all want some now.
yeah. I. Why
Thanks,
don't
Dan.
they? Yeah, he's gone already.
Oh, you've got your headphones.
That's it. Because maybe because they're involved.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. And I planned on bringing up the whole whistleblower that came up, but I don't have all the paperwork left or ready for that, so I'll make it a different broadcast. But I think with the whistleblower material that came out like a year ago on 4chan, I think they know about it because when you look at what the whistleblower was saying, it seems like it's not just somebody on there making some stuff up. It seems like it's actually purposeful disinformation. And if you think
Yeah.
about it, you got these clones, right? They supposedly get cloned over and over again. So they're like elders. There's 23 of them. They say one of them is off messing things up for them. So you got 24 elders like in Revelation, right? So I think they're
Yeah.
trying to tie in some biblical stuff to this whole thing. And then,
Yeah. Why not?
yeah, they're just trying to tie in some truth with disinfo. But if you look at it carefully, they presented the one picture of JFK that and said it was the original 4 people, but it's got the bar across there, and then you can just tell it's BS. Some of the stuff's contradictory too.
I know. Yeah.
Is JFK one of the ones that got you, or you don't really remember?
Yeah. I was born in '64.
I was born in
A
'74.
French Canadian.
Right.
Yeah. Like, yeah. No, pretty much everybody I talk to doesn't really relate. I talked to my mother-in-law, and she seems to remember 4 people. So,
But that's funny
oh,
because Brother Jimmy, one of my trusted viewers, I mean, I trust what he says, you know what I mean? It ain't just anybody. And he remembers 6, but he had this calendar that would hang on his wall. And I was thinking that is that enough to like move you into that category of being too close to it? Because that calendar would have changed to be 6 people in the car if it's got pictures
yeah,
of it or whatever. And instead of him growing up with the 4 people in the car, it would have been
yeah.
like he had this whole history of seeing the 6 people in the car calendar hanging on the wall. So it's a mind trip, you know. What makes you see it? What makes you not see it?
I see a question here. Information Gateway. When do you think this will all come out to the masses?
Sorry, I'm only laughing because the dates in the past. I thought for sure, you know. I have no idea. I like I said, I thought um, when I first realized that, I thought I thought it would be on the news. I thought it's just weird because I thought it would have already happened. So I have no idea. It might not ever happen. I used to think things
Yeah.
would change to an extreme to where finally everyone would see it. But if you think of some of the changes, geography changes, heart moving, if people don't see that, I don't really know what they will see.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy when you think people, like, it's so obvious to us, the things, everything, like, and it's just not,
You know what?
question here, sorry.
Well, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it. We were talking, me and Jose was talking earlier about vaccines and flu shots. So while we're
Oh, yeah.
live here, we were talking about how neither one of us got any vaccines, um,
Well,
at
I
least in the
did
last
when
10
I was,
years.
yeah, not in the
Yeah.
last 10 years, no.
Right.
When I was
So,
little, I did, but
yeah, I did as a kid, but I don't get flu shots. I think a tetanus shot might have been the only thing I've gotten, and that would have been over 10 years ago. I got cut at work and I got a tetanus shot. But I don't go in for flu shots annually. And so neither of
we
us
were
have had anything.
wondering how many of us, yeah, how
So,
many of us,
how many of you all get flu shots? Because I'm wondering if there's a connection there. No flu shots. I guess the question is there anybody who does get flu shots? Yes, I get them
Yeah.
every year. Or anybody like that in the room? Because I'm looking at this new AI technology. I'm seeing what they're releasing out there
Oh yeah.
about chips in the brain, and they can change your memories. And of course, whatever is reaching us in the public eye, they're so much further advanced, on the secret tip. So could they be putting little nanobots that can program us and things like that? One says no shots for 40 years, no flu or pneumonia, no flu shots
No,
anywhere.
no,
No.
no, no. Oh hell
Oh
no.
hell no! I don't take flu shots.
No.
Never flu shot. We might be onto something because
Yeah,
now they're
maybe
trying to
we
make it
are because
mandatory. No shots for me.
uh,
Jamie got one
uh,
last year.
oh, you might be in
Uh,
trouble, Jamie.
but you're in Canada, Jamie. If it's
Friend.
well, do you? I guess you guys encounter people. People not seeing it is a worldwide phenomenon too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people acting weird about not seeing it is a worldwide phenomenon.
Deji, GPK was asking a question here. Hold on, I missed it. Where is it?
No shots for me.
You guys talk so fast on the chat. I have to look for. There it is. Uh,
Oh, there it is. He's asking us if
you got it?
we experience strange things with time.
Yeah.
What about you? I'll let you
Do
answer
you?
first.
With time, well, I find that time speed it goes faster a little. Sometimes I look at the time and I look back. To me, it feels like 2 minutes have passed, and there's like 6 minutes, like or something like
I'm with you
that.
on that.
Or yeah. So I
Or
noticed that. It seems.
or missing days
Go ahead.
where you think it's Thursday or you think it's Wednesday and it's Thursday. Like where'd that day go?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, that happens all the time to everybody, I think. When you're
yeah.
so busy, and for me, it's just because I don't go out. I don't even know. I know the date because it's written on my screen, but you know, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know. So yeah,
That's a pretty good
I
point.
have the chance to be able to stay home.
I
Not the best for
definitely
me right now.
I definitely like Jamie is saying here, I definitely experience time moving faster. I mean for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? One, you can drop a link in for since you got the wrench. But I
Yeah.
did watch that Mark the Arcturian.
Arcturian.
Yeah, that was a pretty good video. He's pretty funny too. But that's stuff I hadn't heard, and I think
Yeah,
think
that's a
it,
good one.
right. Is time faster or are we moving
Or I wish
slower?
slower. Yeah, that's a good point. One.
That's a very good point because I don't know for the people who've been in one of those situations where you're about to have a crash in your car, and it seems like things slow down. Um, Seems
Yeah,
like you
I
go into
don't.
slow motion.
Yeah, I never experienced that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get that a lot, and it's
Wow, that's not good.
well,
Are you about to crash a lot?
well, no, I mean just the phenomenon of things. It it happens when you're in the zone, is the thing. So, like
Oh,
for
okay.
quarterback, he's not really about to crash, but you see all these guys running at him, and it looks like how is he able to think with all these guys running at him, and he's able to pass just as the guy clobbers him? You know what I mean? You're like, how was he able to do that? But for him, he was in the zone, so time was moving slower. His brain had sped up and started making time feel slower to him. So he had more time to think and process and stuff. So I think it's sort of that same type of effect going on with, you know, it could be like one is saying, like, things seem slower. Or I guess it would seem like, I guess time would be slowing down if it feels faster, right? That's a mind trip.
Yeah, it is. Not, yeah. I have a question for the guys, the people in the chat, if I may.
Yeah.
Um, for like about 2 years, I've been seeing things when you know, that time when you're the alpha sleep and the like in between, when you're in between sleep
Like
and wake
half
time.
asleep, yeah.
Not really half asleep, like you're conscious, but drift off. You know, like you're kind of drifting in between sleep and waking.
Right.
Um,
We always called it half asleep here. I don't know if it's sort of like you're asleep,
yeah,
but if someone makes a sound in the room, you know that it's in the room. Is that what you mean?
yeah,
But you're
even
asleep.
more aware than that. Even
More
more
aware.
aware than that. And many times in the last 2 years, when I open my eyes in that state, I see things in the bedroom. I've seen spiders crawling from the ceiling, and huge ones, you know. I've seen branches and shapes, different color shapes. I've seen some of my artwork kind of projected on the wall, like in bigger than the real size, you know, like a
Right.
big kind of artwork that wasn't mine, but that
But
inspired me to do other stuff, you know. Like,
is it
it's
mainly when
really
you're
weird.
waking up, or
Yeah,
both?
it's when I'm waking up, yeah, from a nap. Mostly from a nap, because when it's dark in the room, I can't see anything. It has to be like bright in the room,
So it's like you're
and then I
seeing some of the room, but you're seeing other things on top of it, like superimposed on what you normally see.
yeah, I see my room. The one time I had like a branch right here, up right above my face, and I could see it, but it's kind of translucent.
Right.
And I reached to grab it, and there's nothing there. The I was never scared. The scene though was a pair of legs standing next to my bed, like, you know, like half a body standing next to my bed.
You said that didn't scare you?
No, no, it's
It says
weird.
like those mannequins. That's for just the pants.
No, I think it was someone, but I like
Like you're
the
seeing
chest up, from the chest up, I couldn't see.
like
Like
you're
a pair of
seeing.
jeans and a white top, but I couldn't see.
Were they moving?
No,
Just standing there?
just standing there. Yeah,
And
yeah,
could you see through them, like the branch, like
yeah,
translucent?
yeah, yeah.
That's wild. Do you get
I
anything while you're
know.
going to sleep though?
No.
No,
Well, let's see. Yeah, maybe. Yes, maybe. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I going to sleep, but it's more when I wake up.
because I was
Yeah.
going to say when I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to sleep and I close my eyes, it's like I'm picking up a signal with like random video footage or pictures, and I can see the
I get that a
stream.
lot too.
Oh, you do? That's what I really noticed in the
Yeah.
last couple of years. It's almost like I can't hang out at that level very long because it's right before I go to
No.
sleep. But it's like I start picking up the signal, and it's not really anything specific. It'd just be like what you might see while you're going down the road and you're glancing around at storefronts and signs and things like that. It's just like a
Yeah.
random stream of pictures, and it's really weird.
Hmm. I remember seeing too, if you're driving on a highway and car lights going by me, like
Mm.
I've seen that too, for a while though, but I did see a lot of that at the beginning. Yeah, it's really strange. Yeah.
Isn't it? And they still can't
Yeah.
really that that video that Truth Stream Media put out recently about dreams, how she was explaining how they still really have no idea what dreams are. It's just a bunch of
That's right.
theories.
Oh, and it's funny. Dan was telling me, Dan is my honey, telling me about a dream he had yesterday. Dreaming that he was doing laundry at my sister's new place, and there was like he was taking it was weird setup. There was a stream right next to the house, and he would pull his clothes and put it down. They would get carried away by the stream. The stream come and laughing, oh baby, I'll help you, like something like that. And I dreamt that I was picking up laundry in my bedroom, but I dreamt I was picking up laundry in
Was it soaking wet?
not wet. Mine was not wet, but like anyway,
Yeah, it's still
we
strange.
both dream about laundry, like
That is weird.
uh,
It's sort of
and I
like
don't usually dream of laundry because I don't like doing laundry. So
it's so funny. I had a dream
it's
the other
weird.
day that we were like camping and we came across the edge of this like hill or mountain, and there was these huge chunks of like this clear rock, and I was like, oh man, we got to collect this and
Mhm.
stuff. These are awesome. And I was trying to load up all of these clear crystals to take back to the vehicle. I was so excited about finding them. Let me check the chat for any questions.
Mhm. Screen is really small. I fit on here.
I like my dreams too, Jamie. I even had one that the other day that was, I don't know, day before yesterday, that was kind of weird about an outbreak happening or something, but it still wasn't scary or anything. It was just sort of strange.
Yeah, I even saw once I think I told you about that one.
Which one?
Just before I woke up, I saw a face. My eyes were shut, right in my face here. It was a man with dark hair and black eyes, but the whole thing was black. Like the white part was black too. That was just that. But I didn't feel fear. That's why, like it's feel fear when you saw something like this right in your face. And I didn't. I never felt threatened or anything like
See,
nightmare.
and that makes me wonder, are we being prepped, you know,
Yeah.
to experience? Because that seems scary just hearing about it, but,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Or maybe I know it's not hurtful. I don't know. It's not.
Maybe it's one of
I don't
those
know.
things where you have to use your intuition, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that if it was something to fear, I would feel fear
Hmm.
because I can feel fear.
Juan is saying that's lucid dreaming, or is she talking to somebody else? She might be talking to somebody else. There's a lot above to read. I'm looking for red. See if I missed any questions.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you, Jen.
one says she had a ton of deja vu today, and that's so funny.
Oh,
My
really?
son had it last night.
Really?
He was sitting right
I
next to
used
me.
to have that too.
That's a cool
I don't
feeling. I don't get
anymore.
it much unless I'm sleepy. Let's see
Oh,
here.
sleep paralysis. That must be scary.
And I brought that up in a previous broadcast because it was the strangest thing. Um, I felt this buzzing get louder and louder, and it was making my whole body buzz. And it got so intense that I like rolled over to wake my wife up. And as soon as I rolled over to wake her up, I realized I'd never moved. And that happened like
Oh,
5 or 6 times in a row where I felt like I rolled over to wake her up, but I had never really moved. I was still laying in that first position. And then it even got to the point where I got
wow.
all the way out of bed. Wasn't sure if I had really moved because of the previous 5 times it happened. So I reached up, I touched the ceiling, I touched the floor, I got on down on my knees, and I touched the tile in the bathroom. I felt the coldness of it, and then was back in the bed again, and I had never moved again. And I was like, "What the heck?"
Oh, oh,
So it was
that's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
my phone making a sound that brought me back. And then I finally got up, went over to my phone,
Wow.
started pushing buttons, and my daughter was up watching TV, so I went in there and talked to her and said, "Was anything weird happening?" She's like, "No." So sure felt weird to me.
Oh, that's fun though. I'd like to experience that.
It was fun, but when I covered myself with light or imagined light surrounding me, it went away. So even though it felt intense and I could see it being perceived as scary for some people because of the intensity of it, and I did almost wake up my wife because I wasn't sure if something was wrong with me health
Yeah,
wise. But
yeah,
it was fun. That's
yeah.
what I
That must
thought
be
too.
lucid dreaming, huh?
Yeah, someone was saying it might have been my astral body, and that's a thought that came to mind too.
Bye, Roger Prescott. Have a good lunch and thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, definitely. Love and light to you. It'd be fun to have a whole round table. I know my
Yeah.
computer wouldn't take it, but wouldn't it be cool to have?
Yes, yes, that would be fun.
Because I'm finding
See
myself wanting to just
everybody.
read the comments.
I have to hire someone to read your comic. Oh, that's me. Yeah, not doing a good job today. Sorry, gotta listen too.
Oh,
Yeah,
now you see what I go through. It's like a whole nother world over there that you might pick up a little piece of it, but
I know you can't do both at once. It's impossible. Well, see, when I do the monitoring, uh, yeah, I put down the volume because I really want to concentrate. I'm
yeah,
usually attracted to the people who don't get any answer from the other people because maybe it was dismissed or something like that. And I know I don't like going in a chat room and being ignored. So, and it's not anybody's fault, like, but I try to acknowledge these people as well and um, make sure there's no clowns and,
yeah.
clouds? No, clowns.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you say that
You
in
know,
French?
they clown. They
Awesome.
clown. They clown.
Excuse me.
Your excuse.
Yeah, Carrie says, nice to put a face with a circle pic.
Put a face with a what?
With your little circle eye
Oh,
that you
yeah,
normally
yeah,
do.
yeah. Actually drew that eye.
Yeah, she actually
It's one
drew
of
her little
my
avatar eye. It's cool.
here. There you go.
Oh yeah, she's got it right here. Check it out.
Mhm.
There it is. Looks much wider there.
So, any other question? Oh, at Shane here, what it will be like when we can share thoughts and feelings without words. What a real party! That will be fun. I
Yeah,
was wondering yesterday. I was just like thinking, like what is it gonna be like when we don't have a meat soup anymore? All those things I like to do, uh, like walking outside or gardening or things like that. We won't be doing that anymore. Like, what is it gonna be like? Tickle
that's
somebody or, like
yeah,
hug and, like things that, oh, I don't know. Thank you, Juan.
that's that's a very good point. What will it be like? I mean, and I have several theories on it that will still sort of be flash, but will kind of be like an iPhone that you jailbreak. It takes the limitations off of it. You know what I mean? Or something along those lines. So that's how I imagine it. I imagine our light bodies being pretty much what we have, but uh, extra accessories, you know, and then we lose some of the
Yeah,
baggage of it.
yeah. But, I'm wondering, are we still gonna be, or where are we gonna be? Is there gonna be flowers? I need flowers. I need trees. I need nature. I need,
To feel
like
the
it's,
wind. Yeah, if you're just light, will you feel the wind blowing?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I said what? That's not polite. There's one. Where'd you get those? Those are so cool.
Wow, she's got a.
Really rainbow, nice rainbow.
I just always look for the faces, so I could have missed something there.
I'll let you go through the chat. See what I'm going through all the time.
I won't show that picture you sent me, Carrie, but it was funny. Carrie took a selfie with her iPhone, and it made her eye look like it was a reptilian eye, and she was freaking out a little bit about it. I don't blame her because it was weird the way it messed with her. She sent it, and I was like, I gotta go. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
Oh, this feels so good. We were so down earlier. Now we're just, think we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
sleep
feeling all
in.
the
Like,
love of everybody spreading in the room. It's a good thing we
yeah,
came on
thanks,
here.
guys. That's funny, Kiri.
What you're saying? You want me to share that image? I don't know where it's at anyway, but let me see. If you guys don't have any more
Uh,
questions, what time is it? Oh my gosh, it's been over an hour. We've been having a blast. Time flies when you're having fun.
yeah.
Does it feel like it's been
Did
over
you
an hour to
guys
you?
click that like button?
She's resuming her moderator work here in the chat. What she normally says.
Sorry, I missed that one because I
It,
was reading Jen was sending me I feel like that's why we were here with these human forms.
yeah, in many
But
ways,
yeah, that
it's
makes sense too.
it,
I'm gonna
it's
miss it anyway.
it suits for us to experience. You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it. But I hope I don't come back.
Touche.
Uh, Jemima is asking if we felt anything during the meditation on 11/11 at 11/11.
Sometimes during meditation, I feel like someone's tickling my spiritual man or something. You know, I just feel kind of like I want to not really laugh, but like hoot and holler a little bit. But I'm usually in the backyard, so I don't.
Oh, you do it outside. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, the killer bot thing. Yeah, that was. I saw that last night. Joseph Reyna sent that to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, what are they getting into now? And I left the scripture from Revelation in the description of that video because I thought it sounded just like that scripture in Revelations talking about the locust and how they only targeted the people that had the seal or didn't have the seal on their forehead or something like that. And it sounded like facial recognition. You know, it sounded just like
uh, yeah,
this.
that was scary. I saw that before bed last night, and I couldn't sleep. I had to get up again. And I see that in a couple of other videos. I don't know why I clicked on them. I usually stay away from that stuff because it just messes with me so much. I saw a video of, oh, yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, it just made me feel so bad.
Well, I managed to mix in some cool technology with it too. So, but yeah, it's in fact, I even cut out some of that video, but I couldn't cut too much out of the ending. Wouldn't have made any sense where the doctor gets on
Hmm.
me. But I cut out most of the bloody stuff and
Yeah.
left links.
It's when you think about that, like, why? Why is there so much evil? Why?
I agree. And you'd
Damn.
think they could have it where it's got tranquilizers or something. Why do they have to just go for the kill? You know?
Well, why does it happen in the first place? That's my question. Like,
Right. But I mean, just talking about war and there's bad
yeah,
people and I do respect our military and what they do, but I think of that shooting in St. Louis where the kid was just trying to show off, and
hmm.
ends up threatening the cop and gets killed. And I think, why didn't he have one of those zapper things on him? Or the
Hey
kid,
guys, I forgot about my hot chocolate. Gonna be
cold
cold.
chocolate now, huh?
I think so. Oh, it's cinnamon bark. Nice. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. So it
Oh,
actually ties in. The whole reason I wanted to do that is because it ties into what I was looking at with some of the AI stuff, how the AI can take things over. And I just thought all of these things I was coming across, if they were combined, we could have, a mess on our hands. So I think, it's
yeah,
not a pretty sight, but it's a good thing to be aware of what's out there, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's so scary. It's so disturbing. It's so.
I
I don't
agree. Yeah.
even get out of the house anymore. I don't want to. I I miss my kids, but I can't make myself get out. The energies are so nasty, 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 nasty. So uncomfortable. Think positive thoughts. Yes, Jamie. You're such a wise man. Thanks for bringing us back.
Oh, I think positive is about as much as I can, I guess. But, like we were talking earlier, without having a timeline that we're working with of knowing how long we have to, because you've got to plan for the future to some extent. I mean, I'm trying to stay
Yeah,
in the moment, but I can't stay in the moment until, I'm getting kicked out of my house or something.
yeah. I can't even do life anymore. In almost 3 years, I can't even do life anymore. Like
I
everyday
feel the same
life
way.
is just like why even bother? You know, like I don't know.
It's a task.
It's it, it
It
is.
really
It
is.
is.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I don't have to work
Hmm.
because I don't think I could with all that's going on.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I'm just going to have to probably work from home and still stay out of the having to run across people and then bring up the topic because as much
Yeah.
as it comes up at home, it comes up at
But
home
I
all
don't.
the time. Like a song and play. Did you know this changed? Or a show would come on. Did you know this changed? Or a commercial for a product that changed. And as much as it comes on up about the Mandela effect in my home, I don't want to go out in public and have to work around people and constantly have to bite my
Oh,
lip about seeing things. You know?
yeah. I know, and the way people react, it's so like I don't even talk about it anymore. Rarely, I rarely do. But now I'm thinking about because my family doesn't understand me. They don't understand that being empath, what it implies, and how hard it is for me to like a family reunion. It's a nightmare for me. Christmas is the fifth. I hate Christmas.
Yeah.
Uh, it's I want to. I try to explain it so hard, but I found a couple of videos and I'm thinking of like sitting them together and showing them, and this is what I deal with every day. This is what I deal with born pretty much.
But they won't understand if they don't deal with the
Yeah,
Mandela effect.
I mean, a video about what it is like to be an empath, an
Oh, right.
empath. I don't care if they see the Mandela effect or not anymore because um, his daughter, I'm sure she's awakening. I think she needs to see the Mandela effect.
Hmm.
Younger than us, I think they'll awaken a lot faster than we did and a lot easier than we did. That's my gut feeling, but I think that's what's going on.
Well, at least Jamie told us he got the flu shot last year, so myth busted on that one.
We're not, Jamie and I, we're not in the States, so
Right.
different. I don't know how different. Well, that was fun. I liked
Yeah,
it.
that was a blast. I don't see any more questions. We're going on hour and 15 minutes. All right, you hold the record for the longest, Jose.
Yay!
That's because we're used to talking anyway.
Yeah, we always talk. We don't. Oh,
Oh, we got a question.
well, yeah. Kiri says her husband only acknowledges Forrest Gump. It's hard
Yeah,
to. Yeah, yeah. I know. And it's funny. I was talking to Dan about it, and at first he doesn't want to contradict me, or make me feel bad about those things. He's really open and everything, and he doesn't see much of them,
hmm,
and he doesn't really care. He understands what consciousness is. I think he's a little further ahead,
I think
from
that
me.
helps.
And yeah, so I think some people don't need to see it.
Yeah, some people are so stuck in the daily grind of working and just doing all the normal things you do every day, but he already has a good understanding of consciousness and that there's more out there. And that's sort of the whole reason for
Well,
needing to wake up, you know?
yeah, no, he doesn't do what every other people does though.
Yeah.
Um, Jemima Puddle Duck, I love that name. Uh, he self-employed, so he works 2 or 3 days a week, and the rest of the time he gardens, he does stuff around the house. He's, like, but well, he's gonna be 65 too. He's gonna retire, kind of
Yeah.
doing like, But he never had. He's an old hippie. He never had like a boss or. So it's not like a 9 to 5 job. He couldn't do that. There's no way he could do it.
Yeah, I couldn't do that
Ever.
either. I started my own business when I was a teenager and always have just worked for myself.
Mm.
I did do 5 years in a factory until I got my 401k match, and then I got the hell out.
Yeah.
That's so
I did
funny.
have a few jobs, but I was always really depressed, anxiety and panic attacks and all kinds of stuff. So I was never able to keep a job very long.
Yeah.
Um, and when I had my kids, when they were young, I didn't want to send them to a daycare. That was my choice. I don't judge people for doing it, like I just wanted to stay home with them.
Yeah.
So
It was like that with my
it's
wife. I worked so she could stay home with the kids, and because I didn't want to send them off to daycare. And then we even homeschooled for quite a few years until they just begged to go to school, and then I felt bad, so I let them go.
yeah.
Plus, they learn a lot of social skills. But
Thank you,
now,
Kiri. You're sweet. She's sending me all those love messages. I love you too, Kiri.
all right, so I guess we'll wrap it up if there's no more questions. I thank you so much for being my wonderful assistant and coming on here, Jose.
You're welcome. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Uh,
We'll
yeah.
definitely do it
No,
again.
you're sure anytime. You don't mind smoking a cigarette. Me smoking a cigarette in your face.
Oh, no, that's
Uh,
fine. It's not coming through my speakers or anything.
so much fun, guys, to hang out with you. I'll have to read the chat because I didn't see much of it, but
I always have to go back and watch it again because I don't get to see the chat. And there's always questions I miss. I'm like, oh. And a lot of times I'll
oh
find
no.
myself wanting to chat, actually type right then. And I'm like, oh, that's not live. Duh.
Yeah. Well, we can jump in the chat and when I know
Yeah.
what I mean. Love you too, Jen.
Yeah,
Love
we
all
love you
of you
guys.
guys.
And I will hop in the chat. So if I miss one of your questions, stick around and ask me when we get in there. But I'll go
Yeah,
ahead and
I'll
end the
up in the
broadcast.
chat too.
Is there anything you want to say before we go, Jose?
Much love to everybody,
Yes, much
and
love to everybody.
try to stay in the present. Yeah,
I second that.
yeah. So talk to you in the chat.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk to you guys. And for now, have a good one.